I was so incredibly sleep deprived at one stage because he just did not sleep ever. And so then I was exhausted, and yeah, so it was a big adjustment, not just for him, but for all of us.
Thank you for having me in your home, Casey and Esther. It's wonderful to be here. So you are foster parents and you have children of your own. So tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to the decision to become foster parents.
Originally it kind of started out with doing an adoption process, and then we obviously started looking into that further down the track, and that was really kind of how we got onto foster care, because we just saw that we do have such a big need here in Australia in our own backyard. So we thought, well, let's have a look at that, and it all just kind of rolled on from there.
So your own children came first, how did this all happen?
Yeah, so we decided, we would have our own children first. So we've got two, a girl and a boy. Mm-hmm. And even they grew up knowing as well that, we're going to do foster care eventually. So they've just grown up with the whole process as well. Just that's what mum and dad are going to do. We're going to have siblings, and there you go.
How did you know you were ready to take that next step?
We had our two children and we found ourselves in a situation where we weren't going to have any more. We didn't have room for another child in the house we were, and we actually sold our house to get a bigger house to open up just the opportunity.
What did you do? Did you go, onto the internet and Google foster care agencies? I mean, what is the process?
We went to a couple of foster care seminars just to learn about how it worked, and we joined a local support group for carers, and we met other carers and asked questions. We found out what it was like, what the process was, what different agencies there were that we could go through, and we sort of took it from there.
Has there been any particular challenges for becoming this family unit that you are, of your own biological children, of foster care children in your home? Has there been challenges in that regard?
It can be quite hard at the start. Our first foster child didn't want to borrow of me for 6 months. So I think he grew up with mum and he only wanted a mum. So yeah, bonding was quite hard at the start.
Yes, especially because he came with, unfortunately, a lot of trauma. He had been through quite a lot in his very short time. So I think when he did first come to us, it was very challenging, because we really didn't know what we were in for. I mean, we were keen, we were ready for it, but we didn't know what to expect with that first one, and it was very difficult. I remember the first few weeks, there were lots of tears from myself. I was like, what have I got myself in for? This is awful. But as time he began to settle with us, and our children were amazing. They just loved him from the second he walked in the door. But yeah, it was very challenging.
And how old was he when he came to you?
13 months. So
yes,
yeah, he didn't really know which way was up, and we didn't know what we were doing. So, and there are courses, there's preparation. They teach you about trauma and stuff as well, but the experience is a little bit different to the book lessons, I suppose.
Yeah. There's only so much you can get from a book, and even just talking from other people, to then actually living it, because then you're not just trying to deal with this child and help them, make them feel safe, but you've obviously got other responsibilities. For us, we've got our other children that we still wanted to making sure that they were getting our attention, and for me as well, I was so incredibly sleep deprived at one stage because he just did not sleep ever. And so it'd been quite a few years since I'd been getting up with a baby doing night feeds. So I was used to getting a lot of sleep. And so then he came along, and so then I was exhausted, and yeah, so it was a big adjustment, not just for him, but for all of us.
Anyone who's has had a baby, they'd be nodding and going, yes, I remember those days.
Yeah.
But other joys?
Yeah, I think, for us, the joy is in the families that we have made along the way. So we've had 2 little ones leave our care, and we have a third that is leaving us in a week. But we've actually gotten alongside the biological families throughout all of this and formed really good friendships with them, and have remained in contact with them after the children have left our care and returned back to their families. So yesterday, for example, we were at one of our previous foster sons' house with his family having lunch. So, you know, his parents were there, and his nana, his auntie and uncle were all there, and they've just become like family. So I think for us, like, that's kind of where we get a lot of our joy, because we've been through some really hard things and we've been through some really challenging things with these children, but we know that there is this light at the end of it, and there's this so much joy in that we're seeing these children there with their families, and that we still get to see them, and we get to see them growing up with their families. And I think that's just the part that I love so much. I think if you go into foster care with that expectation of that they're going to be your children, you're going to keep them, then you're going into it for all the wrong reasons, because ultimately the goal is for these children to be able to go back to their families. And, you know, sometimes that isn't always going to happen. Sometimes it's not safe, and that's just not the way that things go. But ultimately that is what we're looking for, to see these families who, you know, they're not bad people, they've just had hard things thrown at them, and maybe they've just not had very good supports in place. So, like, you know, for us as a family, and that's where I've always wanted to get alongside the biological family, not just the child, but the actual family, and go, you know what, like, what can we do to support you? How can we help you? Because that's all that they really need, is they just need someone to care for them and love them, so that they can, you know, mend what needs to be mended, heal their own hearts, and then be able to have their children back with them.
Kind of feel like this is our ministry, really. Caring for and looking after these kids, it's really just a child-focused thing, that there's so much hurt and pain in the world, and there are kids who don't have a home or somewhere safe to be, and that's ultimately what we want to be, is we want to be somewhere safe for these children, somewhere safe and stable until they can go to a home that is safe and stable for them.
And I think, like, yeah, definitely having that faith and coming from a Christian background, kind of our faith and our church community is probably what it keeps us going. And I think without that, we probably would have crumbled quite a few times. I think just having that faith and knowing that God is the one who has placed us where we are. Like, I know that this is exactly where God has led us and wants us to be. So I think just knowing through all those hard times and the trials and all, you know, the sleepless nights and the tears and the frustration of just going, okay, like this is really hard, but this is where God wants me to be. So if this is where God wants me to be, then I know, then, you know, his plan is in place, and I just need to trust him.
You're making a difference to kids' lives. I mean, you're giving them a stable, safe place, and you get to see them blossom. You see children come in who don't know which way is up, don't know what's going on, don't know where they're going to wake up tomorrow, and you see that change to a kid who begins to open up and play and bond with you, and it's so amazing to see that change. Amazing to see what you can do for a child.